Do you remember what a false flag is? Does everyone know what a false flag is? False flags originated at sea. So when we saw that cargo ship, which was definitely Portuguese, crash yesterday off of British waters, that is what a false flag looks like in today's world. So think about it like this. The Portuguese American ship is registered in Portugal and the captain was trained in America and he lives in Portugal. So his passport says he's Portuguese. But we never actually get to see this guy's face. And now he's been arrested, we're not allowed to see his face or his name. So that neatly puts him to one side, but he's Chinese. He is paid by Chinese, he gets paid in American dollars most likely, but he is paid by the Chinese Communist Party to steal fish in his Portuguese American ship, which will never see China, has probably never been to China, because like I said in my video yesterday, he will be meeting up at the international border in the sea with a Chinese ship, which is a legitimate Chinese ship, and transferring his cargo of illegally gained fish, and they will mix it in with that Chinese ship's legal catch of fish. You see? So it's fish laundering, if you like. Illegal fish laundering. This is what the Chinese have been reduced to now, because obviously they cannot grow food in China. They've screwed their whole country by polluting it so badly, and they can't afford to buy food by legitimate sources. So what they do, they send out legitimate ships, and those ships hover about at the border where they're allowed to hover with their transponders on, and then the Portuguese American ship with the false flag, which is actually not American nor Portuguese, turns off the transponder and sails into British waters and does the unethical illegal trawling. So they catch sharks, turtles, seagulls, virtually anything that happens to be in the water at the time. You know, they dragnet the whole thing, they catch every living thing in the water at that point, and then they just dump it into a tank along with the legal fish, and they give it to the Chinese guy. So the Chinese guy sails back to China with his legitimate catch, and if he's ever questioned, he can say, well, I never went to Britain. So he's no longer part of the investigation. The investigation is now on the British American ship, you know, the pirate ship. So he is now going to claim he's never been to China, he's nothing to do with China, and the media will go, Russia did it! Because everyone hates Russia at the moment. They're unpopular and they are not trustworthy either. So now we can false flag the Chinese ship away so they don't get any blame, and we can attach blame to the Russians, which is effectively going to go nowhere when it gets proven through the courts with the investigation that happens in that direction, and it actually was nothing to do with Russia. So that's the end of the investigation, and the conclusion was Russia didn't do it. It was Portugal and America, but they didn't do it either, and it was nothing to do with China. That's how a false flag works. So in conclusion, short video today. Yes, that ship was a Chinese-funded and Chinese-controlled ship which was catching fish illegally to take back to China. Yes, it is registered and ported in Portugal and has connections with American port companies, like most ships in the area do. But do not be false flagged and fooled. These guys think you're an idiot, and if you believe their story in the BBC, you are an idiot. Because we know China have a huge fleet, tens of thousands of these non-Chinese ships, and they constantly stay out at sea, catching fish illegally with their transponders off, which is why they often crash into legitimate vessels, like the oil tanker. But when you investigate them, it never leads back to China. This is how they work. This is communism, ladies, gents and Pikachus. They steal from us and they blame it on someone else. So they stir up parties that are already looking to roll up their sleeves and fight. They're trying to stir up America, Portugal, England and Russia so that they don't get on in their negotiations. Then China go back with their illegally caught fish, feed themselves, and they roll out a bunch of propaganda to say China should be leading the negotiations because we didn't do anything, is what China is saying. We didn't do anything at all, so we're obviously the best person to speak to about negotiating this row between Portugal, America, England and Russia. But it was them that caused the whole thing. They stirred up the whole, argument in the first place. And nobody is investigating them for the stolen fish, crashing the vessel, using illegal slaves on drugs without transponders in illegal waters. So it's your typical false flag. But we're going to have to be on our guard, watching out for this stuff, because not only are they getting away with this like every day in every part of the world, nobody is protesting or even complaining about it, and guys like myself that do immediately get hit with a shadow ban like I did all day yesterday for having done that video, which was true. Notice they don't shadow ban the fake stuff, they don't shadow ban none of the jihadi stuff, they don't shadow ban none of the BBC's bullshit reporting. Every story they do is filled with lies. They only bother to shadow ban people who have truthful news that they would rather you didn't know. So be on your guard for that. Keep your eyes open for this kind of thing. And share and share and share. Tell everyone you know, China are the ones that did this. They are the ones that stole the fish. They are the one that owned and funded the boat. They're the ones that gave the instructions to switch off the transponder. And they are the one that hung out the Portuguese captain to dry, even though he's Chinese, he lives in Portugal. And now they're going to wash their hands of him. They don't need him anymore. They've got tens of thousands of these things happening all the time. This is just one. And if you're one of these people that thinks, oh, they wouldn't want to waste one ship and all the money, they wouldn't want to say no to that catch because they won't have any fish now. That ship has probably been operating for years. Years and years, stealing fish every single week. And the amount of money they made off this ragtag bunch of pirates, which is what they are, and this half-baked ship, which looks like it's ready for the knacker's yard, far outweighs the loss of a single ship, as long as they don't get caught and the other tens of thousands carry on going out. And it's not just Britain this happens in, this happens all over the world. The Philippines, the Galapagos Islands, which is a nature reserve, like no fishing's allowed there, they go in and they dragnet trawl everything, kill loads of endangered species, because China do not care about the world. The same as Islam don't care about the world. These guys don't follow rules, and they lie and they deceive so that they can carry on doing it until the last moment. They are enemies at war with us. And the sooner we recognise this and stop defending them and pretending that's not happening, the sooner we can get a solution. So let's concentrate on that, getting a solution, making sure everybody knows China and Islam are the main enemies of this country. We are at war with them, and that's what we need to keep in mind. So I think that's my doctor is about to ring me at last. So I've got to go now. I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Bye now. Ultimately, we're never going to get any decency and morality back into our lives and our civilizations until we completely remove any trace of Islam and Chinese communism from our nations. That's what we should concentrate on. God bless you all, and I'll see you in the next one.